Okay, I'll give this a second to see if anybody shows up. I left a few comments down there that hopefully everyone can see. At the moment, I'm getting unloaded in Michigan. I'm just bored and thought I'd open up the chat and see who's out there, see if anyone's out here. Try to get some, or try to keep from being too sleepy, unloading, because sometimes it takes forever. By the time you leave, exhausted from waiting, if that makes any sense. If you've ever driven a truck, it's not a make perfect sense here. But I also have another channel that I recently started, and that one is for motorcycle content. And I will be posting the motorcycle content to both for a while until I build something up on the other channel, and then that stuff is just going to go over on the motorcycle side. And all of it is to Rumble. Jumpy Killer. Hello, how are you doing? I don't know how many people are out there. There's a delay. I'm using my phone. So it's what it is. Overcast, cloudy, kind of snowy looking sky. Upper 30s, Michigan. So I guess that's to be expected. Can't wait to get home. Last weekend was crazy. I went home and I felt absolutely horrible. I had this headache that wouldn't go away, and when I sat up, it was worse. When I laid down, it was worse. And then I was able to go to bed, and I just crashed for a while. And what's really weird is when I woke up, I felt better. And I had a message from my salesman over at Harley Davidson at Kingwood. And, well, I went, well, my wife gave me a ride up there. And I went and I looked at the bike, and it's kind of what I want. Or it is what I want. And I traded in one of the bikes on another Harley. Because, long story short, my son didn't want to ride the Sportster S, and he wants to get something smaller that he can work on, that sort of thing, and he was scared he was going to wreck it, damage it, that sort of thing. And so I'm like, okay, we'll look for something like that. And that bike is too small for me. It's got great power. It's awesome. It's just too small. And I mean, I'm a little over 6 foot, and I'm not skinny, so that just it is what it is. And I traded that one in on a lowrider SC. So now I have a 2022 Fat Mob, and I have a lowrider SC. Hopefully, I can do some refinancing too. Or at least refinance them, make it cheaper. But I don't have a GoPro or anything yet. All I have is a phone, and it doesn't do that great for recording, like writing. I can like face it towards me and get a little bit of me writing, and I'm not an Instagram model. I don't think anybody wants to look at me for 30 minutes riding a bike. If it's going to be a bike video, something like that, they're going to want to see where I'm going. Maybe every once in a while, flip the picture back towards me and then flip it back, something like that. But the point would be more of where I'm going. And I want to get a GoPro and mount it to my helmet. That seems to work the best. And my idea so far is to go kind of close around where I live, trying things out. Like maybe go, to a couple of the national parks or go see a few of the sites, something like that, and work my way out from there. And then maybe do some camping trips, and that's kind of where the two channels will merge, if that makes any sense. Because then I'll have the cooking for the one channel and the bike riding and the camping and stuff on the other. And be able to take longer trips, that sort of thing. I can only take so long of a trip though, because obviously I'm not making a living off of YouTube. Hello, Vanessa Kitty, how are you doing? I have a regular job, like most people, and my regular job keeps me gone 5 6 days a week. And I'll have 1 or 2 days that I can do anything in, and that's everything at home, everything with my wife, and of course she too. So it's going to be tough, but at least for right now, and then maybe when we take longer vacations or something, I can work that into it. Doing good and yourself. Oh, I'm doing a lot better. I have another bite. Hello, Amazon. Which one of us are you referring to? I've been called that before. More than one. So, but no, my plan is probably won't be a whole lot of talking at first. I got to figure out how to go over and add comments or something in editing. But to pretty much just turn the camera on and see what I get. You know, there's a national park not too far from where I live, and actually in any direction that I go. And I'm right by the Thicket, I'm right by Sam Houston National Park. Lake Houston, there's all kinds of things, and there's so many things to see around the area that I live. I can go down to like Seabrook, um, or Bridge City out by Anilac, a lot of hogs out by Anilac, and not the Harley kind, the kind that you do not want to hit on a Harley. There's always like a dead hog on the side of the road that somebody just nailed. One day there were 6 of them going to work, and the road was backed up like 4 or 5 miles. And when I finally got up to see what it was, there was an 18-wheeler in the ditch on the right, and there were 3 cars. Like 2 of them were in the ditch, and one was wiped out in the driveway. And there were 6 hogs just scattered out in the road that they had plowed through. And it was kind of just chaos, where a little pack of hogs, I guess, just decided to go across the road. Shangy girl, how are you doing? and jumpy comfort. Um, Free access to national parks, that would be awesome. I don't know if there's a passing or anything. I always just pay at the gate. I'm thinking, just ride through and show what the little parks are about, where the camping sites are, where the cabins are. And me and my wife are kind of split on that. She would rather go camping in a cabin. Her idea of camping is going somewhere there is a pre-made structure that has electricity and heat in a restroom. And my idea of camping is putting a rucksack on a Harley with a tent and carrying a few supplies with me, a little bit of food, some water, and seeing where I end up. You know, I could end up at the KOA, I could end up in a national park, I could end up all kinds of things. Shangy girl, I'm doing fine. Um, Bought another Harley, and I'm also kind of splitting some of my content up from. I have Tara's Swift's Kitchen, which is primarily a cooking channel, and then I've got bike content and that sort of thing. So I have another channel which is Chasing Ghosts, and that link should be up at the top, and or up in the top of the comments. If you scroll all the way up there should be a link that you can click. I'm trying to get some more subscribers over there, and I would appreciate all of the subscribers that I can get. That channel is brand new. I can't live stream to it yet because I just set it up for that day. And apparently you have to wait 24 to 48 hours before it will let you live stream. And that's kind of where I'm at. Now, my dog may go crazy. If somebody comes around my truck or something. I'm literally sitting in the middle of a big chemical plant, and my trailer is getting unloaded, so that's what I'm doing right now. And I guess the other thing I could do, I need to do, I'll probably do a chat on the other channel once I can do a live chat and kind of explain more where I'm going with it and explain the name, which the name comes from, how should I put this? Oh, it's not even counting down there. But, oh yeah, if I mute it for a second, I have to do something. I don't want to pull everyone's eardrums out, pop, what have you, or somebody walks up to the door and I have to talk to them, that sort of thing. But the name for the other channel, the bike content channel, has more to do with, where should I start? I looked for my father for a long time, and I only had, well, I only had two real memories of him. One of them was really a picture of him getting off his bike, basically so drunk he couldn't walk. And I ended up getting a piece of information from my mother randomly one day, and all of a sudden I was instantly able to find it. It's weird how it works that way because I stopped places before and, with new phone books. I had literally, I mean, some of this is before the internet is or was like it is today. So, I would literally look through a phone book and call anyone's name, do weird stuff like that. But all of a sudden I had found him. Unfortunately, it was through his obituary, and it was 3 months after he died. So I just had this thought one day that all this time I had been chasing a ghost, you know. And I guess in some ways I kind of still am. And that's where the new channel name for my other channel comes from. That's why I titled it Chasing Ghosts. So I was wondering if someone would let me know how the audio is coming through, because I am using a new Bluetooth headset. I don't know if the counter up there is accurate. It goes up because now in the comments show up late on StreamYard. And when you're using a phone, it's kind of hard to go back through and check, like on the YouTube side, what have you, because I don't want to accidentally end the stream. If that makes any sense. So, so if you're out there, let me know. Let me know how the sound's coming through. And that was just a, I guess, brief explanation of what the new channel name for my other channel. And like I said, the link's up there at the top. And I need all the subscribers over there that I can get as well. Mark Malone, how are you? What is my number one favorite Slavic dish? Hold on. That's a hard one. It would depend on from where. Um, I mean, I do love garlic soup or hangover soup, just because it's quick, it's easy to make, and it's good. I also like pierogies. Pierogies are awesome, and last time I was home, my wife actually fixed pierogies, and that was awesome. I also like cacciatore, and I've got a video on that somewhere. It's basically boat bread. You got bread that's kind of shaped like a boat, and it's filled with cheese and egg and butter, and that's pretty good. There's chicken paprikash, and there's kind of two different versions there, where you have more like the Czech version, where you've got more of a cream sauce going on, and you've got a piece of chicken, and you've got like Czech dumplings, or you've got like these little tiny dumpling things in there, and that's good. That is awesome. Or commonly, I will make more like the Hungarian version. If you're familiar with that part of the world, right below what used to be Czechoslovakia is Hungary and Austria. And There's a little crossover there in spices and food. And that one's more of a soup. And you start off with a bunch of onions and about 4 tablespoons of sweet Hungarian paprika, and that's awesome. But if I had to choose something as my favorite, I'd probably say pierogies, just because um, garlic soup and cacciatore would probably be both in a close second, but pierogies would probably be my favorite. On my last chat, for some reason, everybody got, for some reason, accidentally kicked out. It was something to do with StreamYard, and a few people logged back in, but that is what it was, and hopefully it doesn't do that again. And if it does, log back in and let me know. I would appreciate it. Please. Yeah, never custom traditional. Most of it, if you really think about it, is actually peasant food. You look at the cuts and the food that it's coming from. It's like those Cajun dishes that you can actually make the same analogy to. But it's simple food that people were able to obtain, like the garlic soup. They had rye bread. They could get eggs. You're not killing the chicken for that one. You're just using the eggs. And they had potatoes. And it's just a simple thing that they can make. And chicken paprikash, that one is literally peasant food, but it's awesome. And a lot of the stuff that I got used here today, and people love it. You look at the cuts of meat and where it's coming from, is actually what people used to eat. And then I guess we figured out how to cook it really good, and now it's something people like. I mean, think about a Peru. There, every culture just about has something similar. Everyone was going to figure out how to cut dough in a circle, put something in the middle, fold it in half, pinch the ends together, and either boil it or fry it. You have your wontons, you have pierogies, you have empanadas, you have all kinds of things like that. Everybody was going to figure out how to do something like that. Some form of like cottage cheese or farmer's cheese. There's ricotta cheese, which if you're getting ricotta from the store, it's probably not ricotta cheese. Um, but the processes to make all this stuff are kind of similar, separating the curds from the way you're heating up milk, and you're adding lemon juice to it, and you're pouring it through something like a cheesecloth. It's just things that everybody was going to eventually figure out. Kind of like those weird things with technology where different cultures figured out similar things at a similar time without even being in contact with each other. And which is this progression of what was going to happen. So, yeah, I like pierogies. If I have pierogies, I'm happy. there's different versions of it by different names. Like I can't remember what the Ukrainians call their. They don't call it pierogi, but over here, if you say pierogi, everyone will know what you're talking about. So, but anyways, this is a random chat. I have no idea where it's going. Oh, cool. There's some crossover with like Germanic food over with like the Slavic food. They're bordering, you know, and the Czech Republic today, right there, Germany, and of course there's the sauerkraut and everything like pork and sauerkraut. There's everything's slipping my mind. Basically fried pork. I remember in a second, or I may not. But that's another thing a lot of cultures figured out is something to do with cabbage. And sour cabbage and fermented cabbage, whether we're talking, it's basically they were figuring out ways to store the food, and that's another thing a lot of the stuff comes from is the days before refrigeration, and they're getting things ready to last winter, which is a big deal. So you had your sauerkraut, or on the other side of the world, you had kimchi and stuff like that, and of course, that's a little bit different. They're fermenting cabbage in the ground, basically, and it's hot. At least from what I understand. I've ate it, I've never made it. But there's things like that people are going to figure out how to do. Okay, this is an effective way of preserving this food. Just like making jerky out of whatever meat source you have, whether it's deer or cattle or, you know, whatever. We're going to figure out how to do that, or a salt pork, putting it in a brine or something like that. Bjorn, how are you doing? I'm not too far from you at the moment. I'm in Midland, Michigan, unloading. I'm hoping it doesn't snow before I get out of here. I'm going to be empty and I'm not going to have any traction. And that's not fun with the tanker. Because if you look at flatbeds, look at them when they're empty, and they're bowed up, and they're loaded, and it pushes them back down. Or you can see the twist and the bend and the dry van. And, most of these things, they have some kind of flex or some kind of give in them, which also makes them ride better. Well, with the tanker, it's a solid frame, the tank's mounted on. And I don't know if you put that as a solid frame or just a solid unit, what we would call it, but I guess the best way to picture it is just a solid frame. And there is no flex. So it's going to ride rubber. And we have spring suspension. Some of them have air ride, but we've got old equipment. So there's spring suspension. And I kind of prefer the spring in a way when it comes to a tanker. But the two problems with the tanker, especially a bulk tank, which is what I do, I'm either pulling like a wastewater tank, a back tank, and I'm doing wastewater loads and stuff like that with them, or pulling like acid out of barge off the coast, something like that. Or I'm pulling a bulk tank, which is like big, shiny, either a skin tank, which is when you see all the ribs around it, because there's no insulation, or what I have now, because this product freezes at like 60 degrees, it's an insulated tank, and they load it warm, and I take it up here and they unload it. And, well, there's no baffles or anything in there. You have tanks that have separate compartments. That helps the surge. Some tanks will have baffles in them. Milk tankers do not have baffles in them. And a lot of bulk tankers, big single compartment tankers, do not have baffles. None of our trailers have baffles. And so you have that surge behind you when you're loaded. But at least when you're loaded, you have traction. When the road gets slick and it gets icy and that sort of thing. And then you get empty, now you have no traction. And you have this stiff trailer with no fins, and it rides kind of rough, and that affects the traction. I don't know if I explained that very well, but that's kind of what it is. And the sky to the, I guess that's the south where I'm at, I'm not exactly sure, is not looking good. The south and the west. I don't know, Bjorn might have a better weather report for Michigan today. Is it going to snow? Not too far from here, maybe you can tell me. I would have already been unloaded, but they had me run a roll off on Monday, and then grabbed this trailer. Then I blew a tire. I blew a tire avoiding an accident. This guy was driving here, and he came around me on the left. Then he pulled in front of me, and at that point, I'm already slowing down, and I merged over to the left. He pulled in front of me. Then he pulled over on the shoulder, and then he made a U-turn in the middle of the freeway in front of me. So I locked everything up, and I stopped. I didn't hit him or anything, but I did blow a tire. And I had to get a tire, or I would have been unloaded yesterday. And then I got into Missouri, from Missouri. And if you've ever been across 44 in the wintertime, um, you'll know why truck drivers call it Missouri. But I wasn't going down 44, I was going up 55. And I got pulled into the port of entering and entry, whatever. I got a DOT inspection. That's all fine and good. I passed the inspection, but it holds me up even longer. And it's just like delay after delay. And I'm wanting to get home. And I just bought a new motorcycle, and I haven't really ridden it yet. It got delivered to my house, well, my son's house yesterday. So I had to make sure somebody'd be home. And Amy works all day, Monday through Friday. I'm gone all week, and he would be there at his house. So he took delivery of the bike, and I've got to ride it home from there. But I was going to be home early Saturday. Just take it out and ride and have fun and all that good stuff. Oh, I've taken that ride. St. Louis to Tulsa. Many, many times. And sat the first truck. that I actually bought, well, I went to St. Louis to Tulsa many, many, many times just because of the heavily traveled route, and you're coming off the East Coast, and you run down 70 to 44 to 40, and you're going to California, or you're going across, 80 or what have you, many times. But I think St. Louis and Kansas City confused for a second. The first truck that I actually bought from a truck dealer was from Freightliner in Kansas City. And I was leased on to a company out of Oklahoma at the time. They're not where I was called to, and I went there. That's what I was 44 when it's icy. At least in Missouri, they don't drive as aggressively as they do in like Houston. Dallas is pretty bad. Houston is way worse. Houston, a blinker isn't even a suggestion other than, okay, pass the asshole before they get over. And people just drive so crazy, and they will shoot you. Road rage shootings um, are a thing. So what's weird is, like, you go someplace like, people complain about New York City. I've been to New York City many times. To them, apparently, I have an accent, but, whatever. My accent's messed up because I travel so much. It used to be really heavily southern, um, but traveling for 25 years, I guess it kind of blends in with everything, unless I get really mad. Sound like you got shit or nigger or something. But if I get mad, it'll come out. But anyways, those drivers up there, I guess they were trained for years. Because the truck drivers up there, even assholes. And from what I understand, the truck drivers would turn their blinkers on, and they'd go blink, blink, blink. And on the third blink, they would get over. Well, whether a car was there or not, they were getting over. So now you go through someplace like that, you turn your blinker on and you're in a truck. By the third blink, the lane beside you is clear and they let you over. Contrast that to Houston, the only way you can get over in a truck, you turn your blinker on, and the cars are gonna, they're going to floor it when they see your blinker. They're not going to let you over. If there was a space you could get over, they're going to floor it and they're going to take the space. They do not want the truck to get over. So then what you do is you start merging a little bit to the left. Then you put your wheels over there on the white line. Your lane's running out, whatever, you've got to get over, and they're not going to let you over. They keep passing. You get over a little more, a little more. And then finally, as you're coming into the lane, somebody will get the point and they'll stop, and they'll honk their horn at you like you cut them off. And you'll merge over a lane, and then you keep going. And hopefully they don't shoot you. That is the only way you're getting over in Houston traffic. You just turn your blinker on and get over. Do it slowly. Make sure you don't hit anyone. But they're not going to let you over. I don't know if the cities y'all live in are in any way similar to that. It shouldn't be that way. It should be, okay, I'm doing the speed limit, you're doing the speed limit, there should be more close around to it, there should be some common courtesy. Oh, this big vehicle needs to get over. Okay, there's 7 lights blinking on the side, truck and trailer are all blinking on one side. You really want to get over in that direction. That's a clue to doing something. They should let you in. But no, they'll go from doing 65 to doing 80 just to get around here. I don't know if there is common courtesy anymore, especially when it comes to driving. Motorcycles kind of even worse in a way just because everybody's got their head up their ass on a cell phone and they're not looking for a motorcycle. Oh, there's a word for that. Some kind of inattentional blindness kind of thing, where people in cars are looking for cars. And they're not really paying attention to what they're doing. They're not looking for a motorcycle. So even though they're looking right at you, they don't see how to ride like they can't see you, because oftentimes they can't see you. This presents a very dangerous situation, especially like left turners. You know, they come up to a light, it's a flashing yellow or something like that, or it's a stop sign and they're turning left, you know, and they'll turn left right in front of you. The lights are the worst ones. You're moving and you're probably doing like 45 mile an hour, and all of a sudden they turn left right in front of you and they never see you. And then you're flying over the car like a human. Your bike's not yours, or you're in their windshield, the side of their vehicle, or what have you. Hard objects are not fun to hit on a motorcycle. Ask me how I know. I just need to stay away from trees. I don't know how long this run is going to run either. For the past few weeks, I've been going from basically Houston to Michigan, Houston to Michigan, doing some other little loads in between. If everything runs right, I can do it in 4 days. If you run into any kind of little hitch, it'll take like 4.5 days. And in this case, it's going to take me 4.5 days to get back. So it's a good thing. Like, I'm not complaining. Could be worse. I've got a lot of bills. And Bjorn said he's an hour and a half from Midland. Well, where I live at, an hour and a half. Well, my perception of distance, like time travel kind of thing, is probably warped, as I generally drive around 700 miles a day. So driving an hour and a half, I'm not even getting started. And I live near Houston, and everything to do with Houston, it's like Houston is an hour from Houston. And then once you get there, it takes an hour to get where you're going. I mean, the Houston area, you might as well say it's from about Baytown to Katy, close to Brookshire, going down I-10. And it's all the way down to Galveston now, on 45, all the way up nearly to Huntsville, you know, basically the north side of Conroe. That's, there used to be cows there, and there's no longer cows. All become malls and mini malls and strip malls. Basically, George Carlin was right. And, I mean, 59, you're talking about going from Roman Forest, Kingwood, all the way down to Sugar. That is a huge area, and that's the Houston area. There's Houston proper, you're talking Harris, but Harris, Montgomery, going into Liberty County, Galveston, all the way around. I don't know if that phone call rang through the StreamYard part, but I'm on my phone. I don't know if he kicked it off or what it did. Anyways, Houston is a huge area. If you've ever driven through it. So it's like, if you're going to go anywhere, unless it's close, it's going to be a while. I mean, growing up was kind of that way too. A little town I lived in Oklahoma, if you were going to go see a movie in the movie theater, other than the little like hour theater they had prior, they had to go down to like McAllister or something or Wagner and drive an hour, hour and a half to go even if they go all the way to Tulsa. You know, there's just nothing to do. There's a pool hall, pasture parties, and stuff like that. Pretty much all it was. But I am going to have to call that person back and bring this chat to a close. I appreciate everyone who sat here and listened to me ramble for the last 47 minutes. I don't know how some of these YouTubers do it, like talk for hours and have like no one to bounce off of. It's easier when you can get someone in the chat and bounce things off them. But I'm going to have to call them back, and that link that is at the top of the chat and also the banner down there. I don't know if you can click that or not on the banner on the computer side, but that is my other channel. And if you are on my Discord, it is in my Discord, and it's also on the community tab on this channel, on Terrace's Kitchen. If you go to my community page, I have some stuff in there where you can link it. I do need subscribers right now, and I would appreciate all that I can. Other than that, thank you so much for listening to me, and one day I will figure out how to end the chat, but I haven't done it yet. And I'm going to go ahead and push this little red button in the chat. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.